Finally, we're back from vacation, or at least it was supposed to be. I just wrote papers for 3 straight days. Not fun, but anywho, it seems like the stack of papers never seems to dwindle away. Well, let's see what we have here. I haven't seen this name in a while. This time around, we have subject 16M-RFT24. Arda Evren, hailing from Turkey, he is a 29-year-old male. I did not expect him to be 29. At a height of 5 foot 10 inches, weighing 156.5 pounds. Arda has a PhD in archaeology, and note, Arda is more obsessed with the traces that people leave behind than with the people themselves. Interesting. I guess I can't be shocked because this sort of thing is up his alley, but he's not even at least a little interested in anyone. Although, mad respect on pursuing your education. He was a graduate student studying under a professor whom he respected. When the professor was accused of counterfeiting the artifacts she dug up, he sided with the professor and defended her. But in the end, Arda betrayed the professor and turned his back on her. When her innocence was eventually revealed, he became skeptical with the theory of belief. He usually keeps a poker face, but he's just expressionless, not emotionless. Arda is often spotted drinking energy drinks in a teacup. It seems that trust seems to be the most glaring issue he has. Surprisingly, not the worst issue or flaw I've seen, and we've seen a lot, but I get it. It feels like he has been let down by his mentor who taught Arda so much. And, well, there's a lot more to the story. And I know I skipped over the energy drink part, but I got some more stuff there. He defended Dr. Petula, a renowned archaeologist, when she was accused of counterfeiting artifacts to the very end. Probably didn't want to lose his mentor in such a disgraceful manner. However, once everything was over, Arda also turned his back against her. He must have felt that he had done enough and that the professor just might have committed the crime. Doubt is the shadow of trust, and hypocrisy is the shadow of integrity. It would have been okay if it had ended at that, but it was later discovered that Dr. Petula was framed. It came to him as a tremendous shock. It's more or less understandable for those who rode the bandwagon and mindlessly accused the professor. However, he, who proclaimed he trusted the professor, failed to uphold his proclamation and betrayed her. He could at least justify his action that he couldn't turn a blind eye to the truth. But after the real truth was revealed, his distrust not only in others but also in himself stems from his experience with this case. This drives his obsession with the traces and objects that people left behind. He places more trust in things than people. He never believes statements without evidence and doubts statements supported with evidence. It's impossible to completely win him over. There is small comfort in knowing it's not just us he doesn't trust, but not a single walking soul. In principle, logic over anything else sounds beneficial, but is it? On one hand, it feels more conclusive, but there can be a lot of skewed evidence to sway what someone is saying. For example, his professor being framed. He believed that his mentor was innocent, then thought they weren't, and then were proved wrong. Normally people would move on because that's how the world goes, but I see that it developed a big lack of trust. And how much? I don't know. Arda is always relaxed and never shows any sign of anxiety, even at the moment of death. Usually even the composed ones will tremble before death. It's not like he readily accepts the present situation, but more of him never expecting the fortune to be on his side. He gets along fine with anyone and doesn't mind others coming close to him. Put it in other words, he does not discriminate people, both positively and negatively. There's no one that he especially cares for or has feelings for. Feels like there's a huge wall between Arda and others. But even so, he is one of the most well-liked among the subjects. Isn't that surprising? Maybe it's his innocent look, or perhaps the distance he keeps with others is what makes others like him. It's been said that the person seems most beautiful at the distance. When we get too close, we become disappointed, and when we're too far away, we lose interest. He seems to believe it's better to keep a certain distance and stay calm, rather than making enemies by being rude or getting too attached. Stoic, I see. Breaking the fourth wall here, but if there was a comparison of Arda to the NFL, Arda is basically Nick Chubb. Does what he has to and does it really well. And of course, the lack of emotion and is still someone that is really well liked. And that's the last sports reference I'm going to make. Arda enjoys putting up an air around him. Reviewing the data on the subject before he came to the island, You spotted him drinking Red Bull from a teacup. That says a lot. Old habits die hard. Out of the blue, Arda will put on a character drama. For example, he once read out, "Hath it been 10 years since she left mine arms." In the middle of a meal in another, he ate nuts as if he were swallowing dangerous pills. It is imagined that Arda used to like comedy skits. Most people usually ignore his theatrics, but people like 14M-RFT07 or 14M-RFT08 tend to play along with him. Fun fact, he also drinks Red 6 as well. Arda seems like he was definitely a theater kid. That seems very out of character from him, but who said you had to be extremely expressive to be a theater kid? But from that, you do know that he does have emotions. It could be from the comedy or the possible drama that was within theater. But hey, glad he has another hobby other than archaeology. Good on you. Arda has a hard time trusting anyone after the incident with Dr. Petula. As a result, if someone betrays him, he doesn't make a big deal out of it. However, he wavers when someone trusts him or follows him in an extreme situation. He tries not to expect too much from them because he believes it will lead to disappointment. He struggles because he wants to trust someone and himself one more time, and yet it always ends in betrayal, from one side or the other. The only difference is that Arda doesn't betray them because he doesn't trust them, rather that he's afraid of the eventual disappointment he expects from them. So he pulls his hand away first, preemptively. It's usually the case that those who strongly denies the very existence of something desperately wants that something. Strong denial is usually strong approval. However, so long as his mind is dominated by negative thoughts and faint hope put aside, it will prove difficult for him to create proper relationship. As long as he maintains his belief that all relationships must inevitably end, it will be difficult for him to form any trust-based relationships with anyone. It all circles back to the concept of trust, and unfortunately, that's going to be a losing battle. As humans, we don't know for sure who we can trust. What's on someone's face doesn't necessarily detail what they intend. So yeah, we don't, but yet we do. It's a leap of faith without knowing it's a leap of faith until it's too late. We just hope that the landing is soft. Arda is a man with few connections, unsurprisingly, so our researcher did some digging. What he found was, well, more of the same. Arda Evren. I feel bad for the guy. He suffered the most among the people who stuck to Dr. Petula. Well, at least that's what I think. If you knew about Arda, you ought to know about Dr. Petula being accused of counterfeiting artifacts. Everyone was talking about it. For a few months, the press was always around. Those cameras staring at me flat out just depress me now. Every student under that professor immediately quit. The lab was empty out at once, I remember it clearly. My lab was right next to theirs. Arda was cleaning up the mess left behind, all by himself. In the end, he gave up and bam! Right afterwards, Dr. Petula was found innocent. It was quite the show. I heard a journalist desperate for scoops dug out the truth. Surprisingly, Arda was not one of them. Could he not forgive himself? He was furiously trying to prove her innocence, but eventually turned his back, exhausted. Such is human nature, yet he could not come to terms with his actions. What a foolish yet pitiful man. Wrong place at the wrong time. That's my biggest takeaway from it. It was coincidental. What would happen if Arda continued to believe just a little longer? Would he continue to be under Dr. Petula? To be less stoic and more expressive? Would he even be here? It's tragic that Arda's circumstances were more so from within, with one push from the external world making everything worse. And now only Arda can make the choice. He could continue to repulse against others or try to grow out of it. It's easier said than done, but if he doesn't, misery is within his future. Being this vulnerable is tough, but...
Intern Anthony? You seem to be enjoying that room in there.
Crap. It's been a while, you know? I sort of miss it here, so I just wanted to walk in this room and take in the ambiance.
Well, that's enough ambience for now. I need you.
You got it. That could have been bad. See what we pick up next time. And that is the end of the Eternal Return file of Arda. I gotta say, he's sort of the most normal one I've done thus far. But you know what's coming.
Trust me, I got this.
With summer slowly drifting by, gotta take a good look at Leon. That could've came out better. But either way, thank you very much for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that jibber jabber. My kings, my queens, and my royals, and I. I'll see you soon.
Lord knows I tried.